all of that, a story about an extraordinary act of kindness when Kate Dickinson's healthy baby girl, oh, can you hear her? Mary was just 1 month old. Her health began to deteriorate, and within days she was on life support with acute liver failure.
Yeah, doctors told Kate that finding a suitable donor for Mary would be like finding a unicorn's liver, so the family prepared for the worst.
But it was a total stranger, Holly Thorpe, who changed everything. Kate, Mary and Holly all join us now to share their story. Good morning, ladies. You are gorgeous.
Isn't she just delicious? Look at that smile.
Gorgeous. You are. So tell me a little bit about how it all started. Because you had her and she was perfectly healthy. And then what happened?
She was, yes. So she was fine for about 4 weeks. We were discharged from the hospital, the health visitor, everything. She was just a normal newborn baby girl, really. And then when she was about 4 weeks old, we noticed that her skin looked like it was changing colour. And then
going yellow?
Yeah, going yellow, yeah. And also, in hindsight, I now know that the colour of her nappies was changing,
yes,
which I didn't realise at the time was a sign that something was wrong with her liver as well. But we just thought that, jaundice is really common. It's, it happens to a lot of babies.
Yes.
So... But we waited a couple of days and it got worse, and then the whites of her eyes went almost greeny yellow, and then at that point we took her to A&E. And when we took her there, she had some blood tests straight away, and then...
Thanks very much.
They showed up straight away that there was a serious problem with her liver.
Did you know? I mean, because seeing her, she's so curious and full of life now, and so vital. Yeah. Did you notice any change in her energy and her temperament at all?
Not really, because she was only 4 weeks old,
right,
and I remember thinking that she was very, very sleepy. But then newborns are. Yeah. Newborns do sleep for most of the day anyway. But I think she was extra sleepy. Like, she barely woke up, in that time. And then when she did, she would just feed and go straight back to sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, in hindsight, I now know that was another sign, the lethargy as well.
So you got her into hospital, and they quite quickly worked out that she had this issue, which I can't begin to imagine as a parent of a newborn, you and her dad. That moment must have been absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, it was. I mean, at that point, we didn't know exactly the extent of it. We didn't know how serious it was. We were just told that we had to be transferred down to Leeds because that's a specialist centre for paediatric liver problems. So we were transferred to Leeds, and then, as soon as we got there and she had some additional tests, we were told that it was acute liver failure, which just... You don't expect to hear that about a newborn baby. You hear of liver failure in adults, but I'd never heard of it in children before, and it is quite rare. But they've never found a cause for it either. They said that in about half of cases, they never find the reason for it.
So they found a donor, first of all, but there was a problem.
Yeah, so after a couple of days, she'd deteriorated enough to qualify to be put on the transplant list. So she was put on the national super urgent list. And then within about 12 hours, there was an offer of a deceased donor.
Yeah.
But then when that arrived to the hospital, it just unfortunately wasn't the right shape or size for us, so they couldn't go ahead with it. And it was at that point when it was suggested to us by one of the surgeons that have we considered live donation. But it was a slightly more longer and more complicated process, usually, to find a living donor. And they hadn't done it before in an emergency situation.
Wow.
But it was our only choice, so we put an appeal out on social media to try and find somebody because nobody within the immediate family was suitable. It was too soon after giving birth for myself. My husband was physically too tall and too big. So we put an appeal out on social media with the criteria on, just hoping that in that time either another deceased donor would come through or we would find somebody.
But you were told, literally, you were told that it was like finding a unicorn's liver. That was the lengths it was going to be, the miracle it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then suddenly that miracle came along.
Yes.
In the shape of Holly. So you must have seen this appeal on social media.
Yes, I saw it. I was on holiday.
Right.
And I saw it, and I kept it a little bit quiet to my family. Some of my colleagues shared it on social media, so it did take me a few days to think about it. And when I got home from holiday, I filled in a form, and
And you fit the criteria. They're quite specific criteria that it had to be, right?
Yeah, it had to be the correct blood group, and it was primarily about the size and my weight. So I think I needed to be under 50 kilograms to be able to donate.
And how do you broach that with your family when you say, look, I've just seen this appeal on social media and I feel like I might be the right fit to give part of my body, one of my organs, or part of my organs.
Yeah. Vital organ.
I mean, that's quite a step, isn't it?
I think when I told my husband, he said, sleep on it, see what you think tomorrow. He wasn't surprised. He thinks I'm quite spontaneous, but this was taking it to another level.
Yeah, just slightly.
He was very supportive. He had his concerns, but he was supportive overall.
So then what happened next? What was the procedure like for you and how did it work?
So it was very quick. The next day after I sent my form, I was in for all the tests and the team were amazing. It was very slick. And the day after I was prepped for surgery, but it didn't go ahead that day because Mary needed some further tests, but the following day, so it was about 3 days in total from filling in the form to the surgery.
Just come back from holiday and all of a sudden you're having this operation where you're having part of your liver donated to a baby.
Yeah.
I mean, how were you feeling at this stage, Kate, when you've suddenly had this stranger seen this appeal?
By that point, Mary had deteriorated quite badly and she was on life support, essentially.
Yeah.
And we knew that she had probably a few days left to hang on, and we knew that if we didn't find somebody and it went ahead in that time, that we stood the chance of losing her. And it was a very real possibility. So it was... obviously, it was a really hard time. I don't remember a lot of that time, actually. But I do remember being told that somebody had been matched and just that feeling of who on earth is this hero, you know? And I know Holly hates us calling it that, but I remember that feeling of, you know, there's somebody out there doing this for our child and we don't even know them. And that feeling of, you know, I always say that in the worst possible time of our life that we could have experienced, we feel like we actually saw the best of people.
Human beings can be incredible. They can be terrible, but they can also be absolutely awe-inspiring and amazing. What was that moment like when you first all met each other?
It was quite a while after the transplant. Mary had the transplant on June the 1st and we met at the end of November because when we were discharged at the end of June...
So you don't meet at all before?
No, it's completely anonymous.
Wow.
For ethical reasons, to protect both sides.
I see.
And then both sides have got to agree that you want the microphone.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that everybody's happy to share their information.
So it was quite a while because when we came home, Mary had to isolate for 3 months to protect her from infection, and it's something we still need to be careful about now because of the drugs that she's on.
It was a really emotional moment.
It was. Yeah.
Did you
really
walk into a room together?
Did,
what was the
So it was at St James's Hospital in Leeds, and David and I, my husband, we turned up and we were just really nervous. We were just really excited, nervous. We'd thought about and anticipated this moment for nearly 6 months. And I just felt this overwhelming feeling of I just want to give her the biggest hug. Yeah. And we walked into a room. Holly was there, and I couldn't say anything. I couldn't speak. I just gave her a huge hug and. The love that we feel for Holly is just
by the way,
off the scale.
It's absolutely tangible. As you sit there on the couch, the three of you together, you can tell how much you love each other. And you're actually godmother now, Holly.
Yeah. Yes.
What made you choose Holly?
We couldn't think of anybody better to ask. And also it was a gesture that we wanted to make as well. It's just one way that we can say thank you. It's very difficult to be able to say thank you properly. There isn't really any gift or any words that we can... we can give to that would say thank you enough, because what she's done for us is just
it's a miracle.
So unique.
And the NHS as well. I know that you want to thank the NHS because they've done some extraordinary work.
They were incredible, and we both feel like they went above and beyond to make it happen in the circumstances that we were. And she was, from start to finish, she was just looked after by the most incredible team, and still is looked after by them. So we feel incredibly fortunate. You know, even though what happened to us was really hard and really sad, we feel like we've come out of it with the best possible outcome.
Well, you have the most vibrant, curious, excitable little thing.
She is.
Bubbling away and smiling on your lap, which is so special. And I think, Holly, from your perspective, knowing that has come, there's a little bit of you in her. That just must feel extraordinary.
It's absolutely, it's probably, other than having my own children, it is the thing that I will forever be most proud of.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that I've been able to come into Kate's life as well, and Mary.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're grateful that you came in and shared the story. It's been lovely to meet you. As you see, I think you've nicked Kat from me. She's completely Mary obsessed, who is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, she loves an audience.
What an amazing team you ladies are.
Yeah.
An amazing team.
Wonderful
Thank
family.
you for coming on.
Thank you.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.